Okay, everybody, this is going to be part 4 of the videos regarding the engine transplant on Project Lazy Lariat. So, I know earlier on I said that I was going to do this in a multi-stage video composition where I would document all the process of pulling the original motor out and locating another motor and all that good stuff. Well, what's the old saying? The best laid plans of mice and men. Yeah, in other words, life happens, and that's what happened. So, the truth be told, things been going on, and my friend, the one who has had a multitude of his vehicles on my channel in the past, actually turned out to do most of the work to remove this engine, or remove the original engine, I should say, and he picked up the replacement engine for me with my cash and did the installation. Not that I didn't want to do the installation, but you know what they say, life happens sometimes, and life happened. So the truck is at my house now, kind of sitting here hoping traffic's not going to be too bad. So at this point, the most I could do is a brief commentary within the time restriction of my videos to kind of tell you the trials and tribulations that we had to endure to put the motor in this truck. So, the first problem. This truck is a 91, which means that it is an OBD1 computer system, or Onboard Diagnostic 1, Generation 1. The engine that's in the truck now came out of a late 1995 Ford F-150 that was wrecked, rolled over. Late 95, technically 96, and that makes that an OBD2 or Generation 2 truck. That's a problem, because although the computers do basically the same thing to monitor the various operations of the engine and to control it, they do it using slightly different interface methods, different sensors, different ignition components, blah, blah, blah. So there were some things that had to be changed out in order to make this happen. So let me kind of walk over here on my bad foot, and we can ignore the orange turds in here. But, okay, so what had to be changed over in order to make this work? Well, first of all, the distributor. Had to use the 91 distributor, which is down there. You can't see it, but it's down there. Had to use the 91 distributor. Had to use the 91 alternator. Had to use various sensors off the 91. What else? I believe we had to use the injector wiring for the 91. The wiring on this truck is set up in such a way that when you remove the intake manifold, it like comes in sections. It's not all technically one piece of wiring that goes from the PCM to everywhere on the motor. There's actually a branch of it. So suffice it to say, we had to use some of the 91 components on the 95 engine, and it starts and runs and drives. As of last week, it is currently insured and it is tagged. So that's done. Another problem we came across is because the truck that this original engine was in, or this engine was originally in, I should say, was a manual transmission. Now, I will be completely honest right here. During all the engine replacements I've done in my life as an adult, about 95 to 98% of them has been like for like. What that means is that if the vehicle I'm working on is a vehicle with an automatic transmission, then I always manage to get an engine out of a vehicle with an automatic. If it was a standard transmission, I always got it out of a standard. There's only been a few occurrences where that didn't take place, and both times the salvage yards that I bought them from knew that I was putting them into this type of vehicle, and they automatically made the necessary mods on the crankshaft. So, obviously going from standard transmission to automatic, at least with this transmission torque converter arrangement, in order to accommodate the snout of the torque converter, up against the crank, you've got to remove the pilot bearing for the clutch. And we had some issues there. Our little rent-a-tool wasn't cooperating. It pulled out the bearing, or at least the inner bearing, and it appeared to leave the outer race or bearing sleeve or bushing. So we had to load it up in a truck, take it to the local shop here in town. 5 minutes later, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. They had their big slide hammer doohickey in there, and pop, 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 and it came out. I was $5 poor, but I had an engine ready to go in. So, yeah. Never come across that situation before, but what can I say? Life happens, live and learn. Once all that was taken care of, the engine actually went in, got it all hooked up. The next problem we came across was coolant. And this is my fault. Ordinarily, when I buy a salvage yard engine, especially a salvage yard engine, I check the freeze plugs and make sure that there's no leaks. I will remove the thermostat, put a garden hose to it, fill the coolant system with water, check everything out, make sure water's not going where water should not be. And I did not do that. I guess I got flustered and thrown off guard by the whole pilot bearing problem, and just overlooked it. And sure enough, he got the engine in, and we had 2 coolant leaks. One from the freeze plug on the passenger side, dead center of the block, directly under the intake manifold and above the exhaust. The only way to get to it is remove the intake manifolds and attack it from above, or go under and remove the exhaust pipes and go at it from the rear. Well, we went it from above and replaced it not with a factory style tap-in plug, but we used a compression expansion plug. I've used them many times. Never, darn mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are thick this year. Never had any problems with it, and I don't anticipate any problems this time either. So, radiator is leaking. This truck has been upgraded with an aftermarket transmission cooler, and they did not do it correctly. I don't know what the deal was. They only put 1 zip tie. They put it in wrong or too tight or something, and that's where it was leaking. Rather than taking the radiator to a radiator shop and paying who knows what to maybe fix it, went on eBay and found a brand new radiator on eBay. Came out of somewhere in California, I think. Full aluminum, multi-core, super flow, easy cool radiator, direct OEM replacement. The only problem I have with it is, and this thing won't let me zoom for some reason, it doesn't do that, but right there below the radiator cap, not the one on the very top, but the one on the bottom, that little hose that goes off to, looks like it goes off to the heater somewhere, that is supposed to be an open port, and it is not. The radiator neck is sealed. I don't know if that's a big deal, but if it's necessary, I suppose I can drill out that port. I mean, the pipe is there, but it's sealed in the neck. So, I don't know. But everything seems to be okay without it. Okay, so other than the coolant, that was pretty much it. The only problems we had to change out some sensors, had to change out the alternator and distributor, put a new radiator in it. I got a new upper radiator hose. I still got some things to go. I mean, I'm not driving it yet because, like, the motor oil, I hadn't been paid when he got the motor on, so he just put some used motor oil that he had in a tub in it to make it to where it can have lubricant and run and drive down here once he was done. That's all well and good for the short term. I obviously don't plan on running on it very long. I already bought 1.25 gallons of fresh motor oil and a brand new filter to go with it. So that is on the to-do list for my day off tomorrow. Transmission needs to be serviced. The fluid smells nasty. It smells kind of burnt, it's dirty. It needs to be changed. So I was thinking about mowing over there and moving the trailer and doing the oil change there, or just moving my car. But the weather calls for a pretty good possibility of rain tomorrow. Pretty cloudy. And it's humid, so I don't want to work under this in the rain. So I think I'm going to have to do something in order to get the truck into the garage, which means I'm going to have to move the orange turd, which is right there. It sucks. So, what else? Need to put antifreeze in it. It's just water. It's summertime. That's fine for right now. Not going to make a habit of it. Going to go buy a few gallons of 50/50, put it in there and square that away. Change the oil ASAP. Service the transmission. According to Google and according to the auto parts store, this thing takes 9.5 quarts of transmission fluid. I figure with the filter and gasket kit, which is about $25, plus the necessary allotment of fluid, I'm going to be easily $50 into a transmission service more after I add a bottle of Lucas to it. And then I'm going to do all the other stuff people that never does to their truck. I'm going to check the brakes, because who knows how long it's been since the brakes have ever been looked at. I'm going to check the rear end fluid and take care of that. And small little things, windshield wiper, so I can use it in the rain. And then she's going to be ready for service. Get the bed cleaned out. All this crap that was in here when I bought it, except for the tires. Those are mine. Got some gravel. Don't know what to do with that. I think that's aquarium gravel. Never opened. Don't know what to do with that. Whatever. Anyway, so before I run out of recording time on here, let's fire up the old girl. And there it is. Motor sounds stout. Not much gas in it. This is a factory dual tank truck. Unfortunately, the dual tank function does not work. Obviously, we have a problem with one of the tanks, so I'll have to figure that out, but that's minimal issue for me. It's got good oil pressure, charging well. It does take a while for this thing to warm up. I'm not sure if that's normal for the 4.9 straight sixes. It needs an exhaust system, although it's really not all that loud for not having an exhaust system underneath it. And obviously, I have some front end repair to do on it. Gonna need some body parts. I don't want to run it out of gas. Haven't had a chance to take her down to the gas station yet and put gas in her. But it's gonna need some work on it. The door does not close quite right because of the front end collision. So I'm gonna need a fender, door. The hinges, or hinge pins, I should say, are bad. So I'm just going to go down to my favorite salvage yard probably. Get me a door, get me a fender, and the necessary parts to do the front end to get my lights back up to par. I will be putting a hitch on this truck because it currently doesn't have anything other than a ball on the bumper, and the bumper is somewhat bent. Or the bumper's bent, the ball is loose. So, that's not what I want to deal with. I want an actual hitch. But she is done, at least in terms of the engine transplant. She is registered, insured, on the road, and so far I'm quite happy with her. So, thanks for watching, and I do plan on continuing to make additional videos because still got more work to be done on Project Lazy Lariat. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.